Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In this video I'd like to take a look at how the US E-minis unfolded yesterday. This is the beta version of our new MTPredictor version 7 that we're testing here at the moment. But today's video is going to be a great example of using the higher time frame to gauge the larger degree trend. If we look at a 3-minute chart of the ES, which we've got here, we can see there's a lovely TS3 buy setup here. However, the STF color is red. Now, I went into great detail about this in our MTPredictor training video, or our webinar yesterday that's recorded for our MTPredictor customers, in how when MTPredictor customers are new, they use the STF color, but just like any other indicator, it's lagging. So when you become experienced with MTPredictor, you go to the higher time frame and use the DPs of the larger degree chart, which we'll do now. So this is what I covered in yesterday's webinar at the time. Here's the DPs on our 15-minute chart of the YM. As you can see, they've caught the turns very well recently. But if I clear them off, I just want to go back and show you what we did before yesterday even unfolded. We went back to the last pivot low, which was here. We then simply right mouse click, do DP. This projects a support zone on the chart in advance. And that's the important point, in that these are on the chart in advance, so they're ready before the market even gets there. Then just look what the market did. It came down here, nailed the low perfectly before the market rallied very nicely. We'll tackle this automatic sell setup a bit later in the video. If I go to the other markets on the NQ, you can see again, here's our DP level we had on our chart in advance. That caught the low, off which the NQ rallied. And more importantly, on the ES, exactly the same thing. There you can see that that high was caught beautifully by that DP, and this DP here again caught the low. Again, I'll just take that off. Just want to make sure you understand that these were on the chart before the market even opened yesterday. So before the market even opened, back to the prior pivot, put the decision point on. There's the support zone there in advance, and let's see what it did. Came down, caught the low beautifully, market then rallied. So this set the trend for up yesterday, and this is what I covered in the webinar before the setup I'm about to look at even unfolded. So I said at the time that we were looking for the market to either go sideways or to rally. Now with that in mind, when we come to a chart, if we're looking for the large degree trend to rally, are we looking for sell setups or buy setups? Well, we're looking for buy setups. If we look at the NQ, again we're looking for buy setups. If we're looking at the Russell Index, this actually went down here, and if we put the DP on from this prior pivot, you can see that the DP actually caught the low of the day absolutely perfectly there, which was really nice. But I'm not looking at the Russell Index here today. And on the YM, we had a couple of setups. So again, the question being is, if the trend is up, are we looking for sell setups or buy setups? Well, obviously the answer is buy setups. So that's why at the time when these sell setups came in, I said that we want to be avoiding these because we're looking to the long side. So let's go back and have a look at this TS3 buy setup here on the ES with that in mind. If we place the analysis on, you can see that the market took you into a long trade, and the market rallied up to the first target very nicely indeed. Because we're looking for the large degree trend to be up, you could have very well decided that this could have been a holy grail trade setup, and you're looking to go for the typical wave 3 WPT. This is a particular setup we adjust or change as more advanced MTPredictor customers, in that we like to see an initial rally off a low, which is what we had here, the initial correction to come down here, and therefore we're looking to play the larger degree wave 3 up into this target. Now that's what I was looking at yesterday, and that was a good initial target to have. But let's have a look and see again back to the 15-minute chart, and this is what all MTPredictor customers need to do, is you need to monitor the 15-minute chart as the chart's progressing. And as you can see here, we actually got a TS3 sell setup arrive. So if I go back, that's what would have happened in real time. The market came up. As soon as this bar was complete, it would then have printed the TS3 sell, and that would have given you indication that the large degree trend was possibly turning down. So this was happening at basically 14:45 or 2:45 New York time. So the question being now is, if you're long on the 3-minute chart at say around where's the cursor, around quarter to 3, which is around this area here. If you're long and the market 15-minute chart is suggesting that a reversal is coming in, does it make sense to try and stay long, or does it make sense to try and protect your profit? And for the more advanced traders among you, we also look at volume. And can you see how this particular bar here, was a really wide range, expansive blow-off top kind of bar. In other words, the market shot up, but it shot up on high volume. There it is. You can see there's our high volume VSA spike. Now, what do we know about that? Well, we normally use these high volume VSA spikes for setups for trend reversals in and around the break of highs and lows. But in this case, you can use it that if the market, if this high volume here was indeed buying volume to push the market up to our initial target, the market would have carried on higher, but it didn't. The next bar here, it reversed back down. So what you could have done is actually moved your stop a bit closer to trail it just below the bar lows to take account of either the market moving continuing higher, or in this case it actually reversed and came back down. In other words, this blow off volume here was actually a blow off, as I've just said, and was actually professional selling rather than professional buying, and as you can see, that called the high of the day. Then, as we've already seen, a couple of minutes later the TS3 sell came in to confirm that high as well. So the 15-minute chart indicating a high coming in combined with the high volume VSA blow off there would have been an indication for the more advanced MTPredictor users to look to bring your stop closer to protect your profit. And as you can see, that would have resulted in a very nice 5.5R profit. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risk small and constant, and as such the profits are always large in relation to the initial risks. But the point being is that this trade setup was a good one to take because it was in the direction of the 15-minute chart. Are all setups profits? Well, no, they're not. This particular trade setup here on the NQ, which actually unfolded at the same time as the ES, you wouldn't have taken it, actually would have resulted in a loss. Just compare that to the ES. So here, the position sizing would have kept the loss at -1R, compared with our profit at 5.5R on the ES. If you're trading the NQ, again, a setup unfolding at the same time, so you wouldn't have taken all three trade setups. However, if you're looking at the 5-minute NQ chart, a bit later on you did have a DP buy setup that you could have considered as well, again against the red STF, but as I've already shown, the large degree trend was up, therefore you could have considered that. So there were quite a few opportunities to take some good trades yesterday, particularly, and this is what I want to stress for the video today, particularly when we defined the 15-minute support zone in advance, and that was talked about in our training webinar yesterday. That defined the initial trend as up, which then gave us indication to look for buy setups and not sell setups. And lastly, as the trend was changing here a bit later in the day, that gave us an indication to protect our profit on our long trade on the ES there. So hopefully this has been a very good example of MTPredictor trade setups yesterday, in particular use of the larger degree trend, then this lovely TS3 setup that then was managed as we came into this high, and the result was a very good 5.5R profit. So a good day for MTPredictor users yesterday with some good trades.